Joined here in our studio, like I said at the top of the show, by Wu Changhua, the director for Greater China of the Climate Group, and Dr. Zhu Chunchuan from the International Union for Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources. Let's talk about the Maasai people. We heard a fantastic interview there with a Maasai gentleman. How are they important and integral to this ecosystem, to this migration, and most importantly, in the fight against climate change?
I think as the TV show demonstrated, for a long time, over the centuries, Maasai people actually figured out a way to live in harmony with the nature, with the migration of animals, everything like that. They developed their own tricks in wearing red, and they never killed, intentionally to kill wild animals, and so they have developed their own lifestyle. But it's also demonstrated through the show, but over the century, particularly recent decades, with the development tourism and other industries there, we started to feel some kind of a threat or damage or pressure actually on the local ecosystem. That's where we need to pay more attention to it. Climate change, I think, that's a bigger issue. If you look at the global scale, if you look at the climate change scientists' scientific conclusion, basically pointing to the fact that climate change is impacting Africa in a very dramatic manner, including the extreme weathers, droughts, and if you look at the impact on land, on water use, on the ecosystems, that would started already and could potentially have major repercussion on the local development.
Now, I want to go back to the point that you made about the Maasai people, about how tourism of late is affecting the river, the ecosystem there, and that is potentially not a good thing. But here's the challenge. Unless you get the Maasai people or any indigenous people in any ecosystem anywhere in the world where there is such a migration, unless those people are integrated into the system, unless those people see tangible economic benefits, unless they're able to make money, wouldn't any effort to try, whether it is to tackle climate change, whether it is to conserve habitats, won't it fail?
Absolutely. I think that's a proven fact already, and that's part of the efforts actually Africa and also the global community needs to figure out how to integrate the indigenous people, local people, to be part of the solution. And we just watch the TV programs, there are challenges already surfing, and that's where actually a lot of efforts started to be made actually in order to figure out how to effectively integrate the local people into the local development, including tourism, everything like that. Particularly, I want to emphasize the local knowledge, indigenous knowledge, how to stay in harmony with the nature. That's where I think lots of efforts need to be made.
Dr. Zhu, again, coming back to this point about integrating the local people, they've done a reasonably good job getting the Maasai people into this ecosystem and using them. Like you heard from that gentleman there, they used to be hunters not until a few years ago. Right now, many of those young people are giving up hunting. They're becoming tour guides. What lessons are there from what the Maasai folks have done in the Mara there? Can you extrapolate that to, say, other ecosystems? Let's say, for example, there is the Tibetan antelope migration here in China. Are there lessons that can be learned from this example?
Definitely. Actually, the Maasai people, they are friends of the animals.
Yeah.
They are quite better integrated into the ecosystem. They follow the weathers and the rainfall and the grass. They are like a mobile patrollism, and they are follow the nature patterns. And normally, traditionally, the Maasai people, they are never hunting the animals. They only the Maasai community, they are not good at patrollism. They are not going do a very good business. They go to hunting, but are very rare. So first of all, the Maasai people, they are friends of the animals, and they follow the nature patterns, the rainfalls and the grassland. So that's quite to fit into the local ecosystem changes. Yeah.
So you were talking about climate change and how you believe there needs to be more that needs to be done. I'm just curious as to Africa itself. It has some of the most diverse ecosystems, some of the most stunning images from the world in terms of natural reserves, forests, and so on. What more, in your opinion, needs to be done in fighting the effects of global change, global warming?
That's a rather large issue, large question actually. The international community tries to come together to address that. I think actually we talked about to say how to integrate local people, indigenous people into part of the solution. How to create jobs, how to make sure like you create jobs, you grow the economy at a local level. In the meantime, you do respect the ecosystem's boundary or red line, actually, not to cross that kind of line. So not only local people, but more importantly, actually, to bring the global community coming together to support Africa to address the issue on climate change.
You aren't seeing enough of that right now, is what
No,
you're
definitely
saying.
not.